Yo, this is Ace Banton in SAT building, baby. You're watching SAT Telecom, that's the #1 choice. Boom!
Whenever the iron play, I'll be there. Wherever the steel band play, I'll be there. Anytime it's carnival, yo, festival, bacchanal, behind the big truck, down the road, everybody, they know that I'll be there. Yo, this is Mr. Challenge, you're watching SAT TV, the people's choice.
Welcome to SAT TV News. I am Shanna Esprit, your presenter. In our top stories today, police investigating shooting death of Savon Pie Man, Shanique Myrie case moves to Caribbean Court of Justice in Barbados, India, Italy Marines row no legal immunity for envoy Daniel Mancini, and in sports, RIC Kensborough relegated to Division 1 League. Details of these and other stories after the break.
SAT Telecoms. And I'm my tutuni. Big up, one love.
It's only when we unite as one, then a lot more thing can be done. Stop this useless fight down, killing out your own brother man. Time we rise and all realize we have an enemy in disguise, standing right in the mix of you. Got to know who is who. This is Derek Peters and you're watching SAT TV. That's what I have, SAT TV. SAT TV, that's the way to go. Rah! To the world. Ooh diddy, ooh diddy, ooh diddy.
Thank you for staying with us. The Rotary Club of Orleans, alongside the Rotary Club of Dominica and the New Provisional Club of Portsmouth, is pleased to be working with the Alpha Center to provide training to special needs educators. The 5-day training for 20 teachers introduced today will enable participants to assess the learning essentials of children with special needs and to also develop learning plans for the children. Ms. Claudia Bellot, President of Dominica Association for the Mentally Handicapped, urged the teachers to take advantage of the expertise that will be provided at the workshop. Mrs. Bellot said the aim of the center is to grow continually by improving the programs.
We have built progressively on our programs over the years, and as we continue to operate the center, we would like to, of course, continue to improve and to be the best that we can be, and to offer the students who come here, improve the programs. And so we want to learn from what other countries are doing and from your skills, as I'm sure you have access to research and to areas where you think we can improve.
She stated that lifelong partnerships were forged and hopes that these relations will continue while ensuring that the children receive the kind of training and the support that they deserve. President of the Rotary Club of Orleans, Mrs. Julia Jane Lee, stated they are not new to assisting Dominica with these types of programs. She said their autism and special education experts have identified a package called the Functional Independent Skills Handbook.
Referred to as FISH. So I'll refer to it as FISH because it's a little shorter. The FISH is an assessment instrument used for determining a person's ability to perform certain functional activities in their daily lives. As you know, many special needs children can't perform some of the basic tasks. It was developed for special education teachers working with individuals with severe developmental disabilities. The FISH can assist professionals in determining educational goals and contains sample lesson plans with teaching techniques, examples for each item evaluated.
Mrs. Jean Lee is convinced that the training will make a difference for the teachers and make their lives easier. Mr. Grayson Stedman, member of the Rotary Club of Dominica, highlighted all the active programs that the Rotary Club has been active in and thanked the Rotary Club of New Orleans for their unending devotion. Ms. Melina Fontaine, Coordinator of Special Education, said that the Ministry of Education is actively examining the services they have been providing for children with special needs. The ministry is also encouraging persons to pursue degrees in special education.
These efforts are to ensure that we are able to provide a service to all the children who have difficulty within the mainstream, or as we say, general education. The field of special education is very broad, and we have much to do before we can reach all the children with special needs. Some of them require specialist services that we are unable to provide because of the lack of human resource. It follows that
the Rotary theme for 2013 is Engaging Rotary and Changing Lives. She said, "Together we can make a difference for the better." In other stories, on Monday, March 18th, Inland Revenue held an award ceremony as part of their 12th annual Tax Awareness Week. This event is held under the theme Compliance Made Easy Through Online Filing and will continue until March 22nd, 2013. The organization's aim purpose is to inform the general public and the taxpayers in particular of the upcoming tax e-filing system. It is said that special emphasis will be placed on educating stakeholders on how this system will operate and the benefits to be derived therefrom. Ms. Markisha Breezie, an employee at Inland Revenue, performed the scripture reading.
They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? And why do you worry about clothes? See how the flowers of the field grow. They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you that not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these.
The choir performed tremendously with the famous and inspirational song, "Draw Me Close." Comptroller of Inland Revenue, Mr. Irving Williams, says during Tax Awareness Week, they usually take the opportunity to focus on educating taxpayers and reminding the general public of their responsibility to voluntarily file tax returns and pay taxes that they are required to pay. Mr. Williams added that the education of taxpayers is very important to them. We believe that citizens must have the means to understand what is required from them in order to comply with the law.
Also, we would like people to be conscious of their responsibilities and adopt a positive attitude for paying taxes. This year we have chosen the theme, Compliance Made Easy Through Online Filing. One of the reasons for doing so is to make the public aware that Inland Revenue Division is in the process of implementing e-filing, which will make it easier and quicker for people to file and pay taxes without having to come to the Inland Revenue Division.
Inland Revenue took a new initiative this year by awarding their customers and recognizing their frontline staff.
I call Kira Harris. Ms. Raisa Myla. Mr. Marcus White.
Minister Minister for Finance, Honorable Reginald Austrie, who spoke on behalf of Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, says the government of Dominica is committed to this program, which is expected to reduce the cost of conducting business in Dominica.
The theme you have selected identifies very closely the objectives of the Growth Forum and the growth objectives of the government, as a major objective being improving the investment climate and cost of doing business. Generally, we recognize that for the value-added tax, the VAT, filing rates are relatively in excess of 90%. For income tax, the percentage of persons who file is much less than what is desired. The aim should be therefore to provide options which will make it easier for persons to file.
He commended the management and staff of Inland Revenue, who have been recognized today, and to all the staff that continues to give high-quality service. In more news, speaking at the end of another testing and counseling training program, Mrs. Julie Frampton, National HIV and AIDS Response Program Coordinator, noted it was important as they recognize the landscape for providing services is rapidly changing and are trying to keep up with it.
I am challenging you to give quality. No shortcuts please, in what you do when you go out there. Because we love to ensure that we provide that kind of service that people will come back and say, well, you know, I did have a provider do a testing and counseling for me. And let me tell you that I was so pleased with the service and I can recommend them to go to you. So this is what you are striving for.
She advised the participants that the skills they acquired will assist them in whatever area of work they return to, in order to provide the relevant HIV/AIDS testing services. She reminded the participants that early treatment of HIV is the key in trying to maintain a healthy life if affected.
And when we test people, if they are negative, we afford them the opportunity to remain negative. We assist them in preparing their risk reduction plan in terms of remaining negative. You know what? Because we are saving the country money when we ensure that we do our testing and counseling practices properly. We want Dominica to be a best practice where testing and counseling services, and I think we're well on our way to doing that.
One of the master trainers, Miss Patricia Joseph, noted this course was designed to train participants to use a recommended protocol for providing counseling and testing for HIV, and to also provide them with an opportunity to qualify 3 candidate trainers for Dominica.
This brings us to a total of 6 newly trained trainers for Dominica. They started their journey in September. They started the long, hard road in September, and this week, the last 3 persons were actually utilizing the skills and knowledge they had learned to conduct a training under the supervision of the master trainers and with our help and support. And also for those of you who are now providers, I hope that you have now accomplished our goals, because the course goals are as follows: to influence in a positive way the attitudes of the participant towards the benefits of counseling and testing. And we are aware by now, and you should be, that the benefit of counseling and testing is just not for the country, but it's for the individual, the couple, and community. And the main focus is reduction of risks for HIV prevention, in terms of HIV.
Ms. Joseph says the major focus is on preventing, as well as ensuring affected persons enter a care system quickly. Another goal of the training was to provide the participants with training in the basics of HIV disease, counseling skills, as well as testing, to provide effective care services to clients.
We said from the beginning, there is a standardized method of providing VCT, not just in Dominica, not just in the OACS, but throughout the world literally. And that if we maintain those standards and we ensure quality care, then we know that our clients would have received the best quality of care, which in turn would make Dominica a better place and it would make it a place where we would have reduced prevalence of HIV in the place, as well as reduced sexually transmitted infections, and also that persons who have been tested and are HIV positive, that they would be able to live a quality of life which every human is entitled to.
Ms. Joseph says it is a hope that the participants will continue the same energy, excitement, and vigor they are living with for the duration of their counseling and testing in Dominica. Some of the participants are Adrienne Laura, Joanne George, Jem George, Kevin Gregoire, and Sylvester John Baptist, among others. In other news, the police are carrying out investigations into a shooting incident which occurred at about 9:15 p.m. on Saturday, 16th March 2013 in the town of Portsmouth. 26-year-old Dowling Augustine of Savon Pie was shot multiple times by an unknown assailant while he was riding his bicycle on the Michael Douglas Boulevard close to the Indian River Bridge. He was then transported to the Reginald Fitzroy Armour Hospital where he was treated. However, while he was being transferred to the Princess Margaret Hospital via the ambulance, things took a turn for the worst and Mr. Augustine succumbed to his injuries. He was then returned to the Reginald Fitzroy Armour Hospital, where upon arrival he was pronounced dead by the district medical officer. The body was then transported to the North Eastern Funeral Parlour, pending a post-mortem examination. A coroner's inquest will be convened. Anyone having information of this shooting and any other crime are asked to call 1-800-TIPS or 1-800-HINT. Augustine was charged on March 1st, 2013 with possession of cannabis, possession with intent to supply 7,718 grams of cannabis, and attempts to export cannabis. He pled not guilty to all charges. He was jointly charged for the offences along with Larry Bellot of Grand Bay and Jamie Andrew before Magistrate Ozzy Lewis on March 1st, 2013, which they all pled not guilty to. The men were arrested at Bell Hall Beach in Tantan on February 28, 2013, where it is alleged that they attempted to export the said cannabis out of the island. The trial date for matter is set for June 13, 2013 at the Portsmouth courts. The heights by great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but while their companions slept were toiling upwards through the night. These words are just a few that the late Mr. Hamilton lived by, as he was laid to rest at the Marigot Methodist Church on Friday, March 16, 2013. His life was recognized and not his death. Mr. Hamilton lived his life through honesty and accepted life's challenges and appreciated its pleasures. At the funeral, his family, friends, government officials, and those lives he touched in one way or another all gathered in commemoration of his long and fruitful journey. As an educator, he dedicated himself over the years to first-class service in a variety of public interest and engagements. In matters of state governance, he was fiercely independent and a model of honoring the public's interest without fear or favors. Reverend Dr. J. Evans Dodd Sr. addressed the family of Mr. Hamilton and voiced his condolences.
To extend it to you, family members, friends, loved ones, our heartfelt sympathy at this time of your bereavement on the death of your loved one, Mishak Hamilton Linton. We want to assure you that at this time of your bereavement, our prayers are with you, and that God's promises stand sure and true, that if you trust Him, He will never leave you.
He made an assurance that he will continue to encourage the family members and friends of Mr. Hamilton. Reverend Dodds quoted from the book of 2 Chronicles.
He did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, just as his father Uzziah had done. But unlike him, he did not enter the temple of the Lord. The people, however, continued their corrupt practices.
He said the scripture is an ancient story that is exceedingly modern and portrays Jotham as Mr. Linton.
A wonderful leader he was. He could organize things here and there and everywhere. He was engaged in all kinds of committees and organizations. Wonderful leader, wonderful organizer. He was a man with great ability.
Mr. Hamilton's simple life proudly honored the roots of his humble beginnings. We now go to Deslyn Joseph for a report.
Thank you. Right now we're at the Old Mill Cultural Center for the Visual Arts Exhibition, where the students have displayed a variety of arts and crafts. On Monday, March 2013, individuals had a chance to witness some of the fine arts and crafts from students across the Caribbean that have written the CXC examinations in visual and performing arts. Chief Educational Officer Mr. Stephenson Hyacinth says we were taught English, mathematics, and social studies. However, the world has changed around us, and we recognize that some of the more stable industries in the world today are those that include visual and performing arts. Mr. Hyacinth added, they have been providing our students with a wide variety of options, and the visual and performing arts is one of these options. The mere fact of the exhibition being held in Dominica, he hopes that it will give students the opportunity to see what their colleagues throughout the Caribbean have been producing, and their interest for the subject will grow.
The CXC offers visual and performing arts on an annual basis, and we have in fact registered students from Dominica to write this particular subject. But we're hoping, because of the exhibition, when they see the quality of work produced by other students, they will be more ready to develop their craft, develop the skill, and to be among the top in the Caribbean.
Okay, what's your overview of our students in Dominica?
They are developing, and we have students with quite a lot of experience and talent and creativity, and providing them with an opportunity to do visual and performing arts will only give them a broader knowledge of the subject itself and create more in terms of their imaginative skills.
His main expectation of this exhibition is those who visit will be inspired by what they witness.
Of what it is that they can do their own assessment as to where they think they are, get a feel of themselves as human beings, and the sort of talent that they have inside of them, the God-given creativity that they have, that they can come out and write the subject at CXC and get a top class.
Mr. Cleveland Sam, Public Relations Officer of the CXC Council, is inviting the public to participate since the exhibition will take place until Friday, March 2013. Mr. Sam says this arts exhibition marks their 40th, and this is the first of 2 exhibitions to be hosted. The second one is expected to be hosted in Jamaica.
What you will see when you come to the exhibition for the rest of the week, it opens today and it runs until Friday afternoon, so we encourage all of Dominica to come, whether you're the Prime Minister or the janitor, right? When you finish a break at cricket, you can come as well. But basically what you're going to see is the best of the best, la creme de la creme of the work produced by students from throughout the Caribbean in the visual arts examination. I encourage you to come and have a look and be surprised. The work on display are high quality work. They are work which can compete with students from anywhere in the world.
He presumes that the students as well as the public of Dominica will see what CXC considers to be art of a very high standard.
Secondly, that the students in Dominica who are currently taking the CSET Visual Arts program will be inspired. that when they see the work on display, they can say, wow, I can do this. We also want the public of Dominica to be able to have a look at what students are doing across the Caribbean in the arts. Very often, the arts are the subject that would get left behind. But when people see what students from other Caribbean countries are doing, then they can take a look and see what it is really that can be produced from a CXC Visual Arts syllabus, from a CXC Visual Arts examination.
Mr. Cleveland left us with a special message.
Every year, CXC gives 2 regional top awards for visual arts. The best 3-dimensional work and the best 2-dimensional work. These students get a full scholarship to the University of the West Indies for producing a single piece of excellent work. We have not had a student from Dominica winning any of these awards yet. Maybe after this exhibition this week, 1 or 2 students may be inspired and will come up with an excellent piece in the future. Because, I mean, this is your university tuition, housing, books, everything paid by you producing an excellent piece of work in an examination.
I'm Deslyn Joseph reporting for SAT TV News, and back to you, Shanna.
Thank you, Deslyn, for that report. In our last story for the evening, assistant coach of the West Indies team, Mr. Toby Radford, says all is set and they are very confident when they face Zimbabwe for the second test of the International Home Series. The series will kick off from Wednesday, March 20th to 24th, 2013 and will be played at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium. Mr. Radford said they have been enjoying a really good run thus far since the games began at the one-day games in Grenada, followed by the 2020 wins in Antigua. He said the team's morale was further boosted when they won the first test last week in Barbados.
Every game's important. We'd like to make sure that Zimbabwe don't win a game on this tour. We want to send them home empty-handed. And we've had a really good run in Test cricket in this last year. We did really well against New Zealand here. We did well in Bangladesh, and we'd like to follow that up with a complete sweep here and win these 2 as well.
The camp is very confident, says Mr. Radford. However, they never take any game lightly, so they are preparing as they normally do to put on an excellent performance in Dominica.
I think there's a lot of confidence and there's a good combination and a good blend of youth and experience. Having like Marlon Samuels has played really well in this past year. Obviously having Chris played well against New Zealand on the batting side, and the youngsters like Kieran Powell, he's really developing, and I think it's great to have the youth and the senior players. And I mustn't forget Shiv, of course, who's one of the top Test players in the world.
Mr. Radford revealed that the team has been very strong at home games, but struggle away from home. However, it is hoped that the next away-from-home series they play, the team will display a lot of confidence and show the same form as in their home games. The assistant coach says there is a lot of work to be done, but he has seen many improvements in the team's players. He stated the crowd support is also very important.
Well, last year it was fantastic, and Shane bowled exceptionally well, as he did again last week in Barbados. And if he can, if he can produce something like that, I think it'd be a great atmosphere. They're really good people here. They love their cricket. It's a nice stadium, and I think we'll be in for a really good game.
Manager of the West Indies team, Mr. Richie Richardson, also echoed the sentiments of the team's assistant coach that the team is very confident. He said they will not take Zimbabwe for granted, especially as cricket is an unpredictable game and you have to always be on top of your game to thrive.
Well, we've got a very good program, and the guys have been working hard. The coach has been working hard with the players, and the players are committed to the program. And once you have that, once you put in hard work, you will get results, and I think that's what's happening at the moment.
Mr. Richardson says the team is focused on winning over Zimbabwe, convincingly weather permitting. He added he is very satisfied with the team, which is made up of young and old but experienced players. The team's manager is appealing to all Dominicans to come out in large numbers to support the West Indies team as they have done in the past. This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights.